Hello everyone, my name is Robbins with Godly Truth. We are indeed living in a very interesting time. I have a very trending subject to discuss, which is the cyber attacks that are transpiring all around us, and hoping to understand exactly where these events are tending through the lens of biblical truth. Stay tuned. My friends, the Bible tells us in Matthew chapter 24, verse number 15, 16, 21, and 22, "When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand." Verse number 16, "Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains." Verse number 21, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since there was a nation, to this time, no, nor ever shall be." Verse number 22, "And except those days shall be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." And we also find in the book of Romans chapter 13, verse number 11 and 12, "And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed." Verse number 12, "The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light." Friends, it is extremely important for you to know that we have entered a time of trouble, and it's not going to get any easier. In fact, it will get a whole lot harder, where freedoms and liberty of conscience will be completely abolished from society. Ever since Pestilence 19 was introduced in the world, have you been paying attention lately? Check out this video here real quick.
Tony Blair, former Prime Minister, is with me now. Mr. Blair, you've been advising ministers in public and in private. Looking at all the data you can see, do you think we're going to open up on the 21st of June?
I think it's uncertain at the moment, and the paper we're putting out today is saying we should really distinguish between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. So both here at home, if we do have to adjust some of the freedoms because of the rising pressure from new variants, then it's important at least to ensure that those people who are vaccinated have the maximum freedom they can. And I think that could also be done for travel as well.
Is it acceptable to turn down a vaccine, do you think?
Unless you've got a good medical reason, my view very clearly is no.
The trouble is, this does create, does it not, a two-tier society between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. Looking at your own paper says that if you haven't been vaccinated, you won't be able to go to nightclubs and theatres and big sporting events and many other places. So you will be discriminated against.
Yeah, but I think, you know, the word discrimination's got a very loaded meaning in the English language now. But really, when it comes to risk management, it's all about discrimination.
And you've also said you want us to vaccinate the whole world, help vaccinate the whole world by the end of this year. So it's a question of priorities and choices. Which matters more, vaccinating everybody in the UK first, or starting to send vaccinations around the world?
Look, it's important when you're outside of government not to advocate something you know you wouldn't do inside government.
Exactly.
So the priority will always be first to get your own country vaccinated, and we're doing that. What we're saying is you won't be able to vaccinate the whole world in 2021. You will be able to do it, as Boris Johnson's saying today, by the end of 2022. But what you could do by the end of this year is vaccinate the most vulnerable. And that means frontline healthcare workers, the elderly, and those around big urban conurbations. And the reason for doing that is enlightened self-interest. It's not humanitarian simply. It's because it helps us to stop the disease spreading.
You know, a famous line politicians around the world love using: "Never let a good crisis go to waste." And Pestilence 19 is that gold crisis they have created in order to implement their draconian agenda by the name of Great Reset. Headline: "Now is the time for a great reset." Now, for the sake of keeping the video short, I won't read all the articles. I will simply summarize them. You can pause the video to read them if you like. The article says, Mr. Schwab said, If we act quickly and jointly, Pestilence 19 proved that a reset is possible. An economic downturn has already begun, and we could face worse depression since the 1930s. He is now calling on every country, from the US to China, every industry from oil and gas to tech companies to participate in their agenda, saying, we need a great reset. So, who is Klaus Schwab? He is the founder and the chairman of the World Economic Forum. What is the true meaning of the Great Reset in layman terms? It is nothing but socialism. Now, in a socialist society, government owns and controls everything, including our very lives. So how would they go about to achieve their Great Reset agenda? Check out this video.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
Mr. Schwab made that warning June last year. Exactly 1 year later, his predictions now starting to become a reality. Headline: Cyber attack shuts down major US pipeline. Next, cyber attack hits world largest meat supplier.
Now to that developing story involving criminals that are now targeting the world's biggest meat processor.
Beef and poultry prices have already been climbing after the pandemic disrupted supply chains. Now concerned prices could go even higher. JBS told investigators the weekend attack seemed to be the work of a Russian criminal organization. Today, the White House said it's engaging directly with the Russian government, delivering the message that responsible states do not harbor ransomware criminals.
Next, massive internet outage. Websites and apps around the world go dark. Next, electric company hit by cyber attack left 800,000 people without power. Now, the White House Commerce Secretary said, these cyber attacks, they are here to stay. If anything, they will intensify. My friends, either Mr. Schwab is a prophet, or I'll just let you figure out the rest. Now they are telling us that the whole world could experience cyber lockdown until they come up with a digital vaccine. Nothing will work. Check out this video.
You watch a lot of this happening online, and the trend line of attacks, I imagine, goes like this. And is that trend line increasing up? Is it slowing? Would it ever go down?
It's as simple as if you can be hacked, you are hacked. I mean, that's how bad it's getting. So we're in an environment right now where we're playing goalie and there's slap shots coming at us every millisecond. And by the way, blocking 99.9999999% of all the attacks means you're going to get compromised every year.
Okay, let's continue that metaphor. How do you take away the puck?
You have to have repercussions. Clearly, that's what governments are formed to do: defend nations, defend people, defend a way of life. You know, present hopes and dreams to everybody and their citizens.
Do you think the next escalation in this will enter the physical space, where an average citizen is like, this light bulb just went off, or this TV broke?
The next conflict, where the gloves come off in cyber, the American citizen will be dragged into it, whether they want to be or not. Period. Whatever it happens to be. Apps won't work. Appliances may not work. People don't even know all the things they depend on.
FBI now saying cyber attack reveal US is one step away from cities being plunged into darkness. Listen.
We're one step away from cities being plunged into darkness, and that is not fear and uncertainty. That's based on facts.
You could take down our electric grid, our transportation, our financial systems. You could virtually paralyze the country.
Headline: Experts warn cyber hackers, EMP attacks, and solar storms could annihilate our electric system. The article states, we are certainly vulnerable across the board to natural and man-made threats to our electrical grid system that could render it unrepairable in our lifetime. Senator Hall said he is especially concerned about an EMP attack against the grid, that one small nuclear weapon being detonated above the central part of the United States over Nebraska and Kansas area that would create a pulse from coast to coast, from border to border, that would totally annihilate our electric system. Now, friends, let's put things into perspective here. You would have to be willingly ignorant not to pick up what we just read here. If these cyber attacks was really coming from other countries they claim like Russia and China, then why would Senator Hall give these criminals the exact location where to detonate an EMP that would destroy the entire power grid infrastructure of the country? My friends, the Bible says in Psalm 118, verse number 8, it is better to put your trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. Friends, now is the day of salvation. My friends, surrender your heart to Jesus Christ before it is too late. A great time of trouble is coming upon this world that no one is prepared for. Therefore, let the Lord be your shield of salvation, that you may be able to escape the destruction that is due to come upon this world. I hope you were blessed. Until next time, Maranatha.
If you're keeping score, there have been 4 major cyber attacks in the U.S. in recent weeks, 3 of them blamed on bad actors in Russia or China. From food to transportation to fuel, America's infrastructure is under attack, and experts say there's likely more to come. The most recent attack happened Wednesday near Cape Cod, criminals hacking the ferry to Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard and demanding ransom just as the summer season picks up. The FBI now says the JBS food distributor hack last weekend points to criminals in Russia. Meat production now returning to normal at U.S. plants, and officials say food quality was not impacted. May's Colonial Pipeline hack impacted the entire East Coast, sending fuel prices soaring and prompting long lines at gas stations. Authorities say Russian hackers were also behind this one. And the nation's largest transit system in New York City now revealing an attack in April, when officials say Chinese actors penetrated their system with minimal effects. This memo from the White House Thursday with a clear warning saying, in part, all organizations must recognize that no company is safe from being targeted by ransomware, regardless of size or location.
Business leaders have a responsibility to strengthen their cyber defenses to protect the American public and our economy. Companies that view ransomware as a threat to their core business operations, rather than a simple risk of data theft, will react and recover more effectively.
It's a disturbing trend that, while not a new crime, is growing, according to experts.
We've observed evidence of ransomware attacks at over 80 food and beverage companies that led to disruptions from ransomware over the last few years. This problem is escalating and getting increasingly out of hand.
Security officials say this is now the main warfare, with the potential to be more impactful than any other. And they say now is not the time to be caught unaware.
I think the takeaway right now is if you're a corporate executive or a state and local government agency head and you thought that you would be spared, that criminals wouldn't go after you, guess what? They went after our gas and they went after our hot dogs. No one is out of bounds here.
While the president signed an executive order laying out new cyber defense plans last month, the White House is quick to say that they can't do it on their own. They need businesses to take steps of their own. And as the president heads into a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin later on this month, you can be sure that the actions of criminals in Russia that have negatively impacted the U.S. will surely come up. Eric Phillips,